Okay. Hypothetically, should be streaming. I say as if I've not done this in eons or years. Let us see. Alright. Says we should be good to go. Alright. Killamo, Guillermo, Daniel, SSJ4. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I cannot believe I've only done this, I did episode 202, 203, not live. It feels way longer than 2 weeks. So, hope everyone out there is doing okay. We are recording this live on February 9th, 2021. 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks until us plebeians in the West get Scramble/Strikers. I promise I'll get that, sorted out in my head one day. So, we are going to be talking about reviews today and other stuff. If you guys have questions, you know the deal. Throw them at me. But as soon as I know that I'm all good to hear, we're going to get started. Hello, hello, hello. Blah, 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 blah. Let's hear the quick echo. But there we go. Jack Frost is here. That means the party's got to get started now. Alright. We're going to get started. I'm going to stop looking at my phone. Less than if you count the digital deluxe version. I know, man. That digital version hurts. A digital version hurts for a lot of reasons. What's up, Varnus? What's up, Golden Playhouse? Let's just get into this. This is going to be a one-man show, not including all of you, of course. You guys are all my beautiful co-hosts / listeners. Alright, let's get into this. It's a Tuesday night. I've been freezing my everything off. No reason to wait. Cross Renren made it. That's how you know we have to start. Alright. Oh, almost forgot to actually record on my end. That'd actually be bad. How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, Link 204. I'm your host, Spencer Presley, and today I am your only host as we are doing a live show on the YouTube channel, so thanks to everyone out there listening to this live and in the chat. So big ups to Killamo, Golden Playhouse, Cross Renren, Varnus, Golden Playhouse one more time because I can't think, Jack Frost, Daniel, SSJ4, and Guillermo. Thank you all so much for dropping in here and talking. So, today we are talking all about Persona 5 Strikers. Surprise, surprise. God forbid I do anything else on this podcast or channel. But the reason we're talking about that is because today, specifically Tuesday, February 9th, the review embargo went up. So, if you aren't aware, review embargoes are basically when everyone in the media who got their hands on a review copy or a preview copy early is now able to talk about the game, not spoil it, hypothetically. We will get into that later, though. But this is where everyone can kind of post their scores, let everyone know what they thought about the versions they played, and whatnot. How am I? I'm okay. I'm in Kansas. It's very cold. Winter has not been nice to us this week. So I know there are many places that got it a lot worse, but also at the same time, I'm sick of working and being cold and then coming home and being cold. But this will hopefully help liven up my spirits in getting to talk to all of you. Oh, Golden Playhouse is about to finish Final Fantasy VII. I assume you mean remake, so you're in for one hell of a final chapter. So let's just jump into it by talking about the OpenCritic and the Metacritic score. So OpenCritic and Metacritic are basically aggregate sites that will kind of tally up all of the scores from various reviewers and kind of bring it into their own thing. So let me put in the OpenCritic one. So for Metacritic right now, and this is 7 p.m. CST on a Tuesday, P5S on PS4 is currently at an 85, which is actually a little higher than it was this morning, so that's good. And on OpenCritic, they don't do it by per platform. This is just for all of them together. On OpenCritic, it is at an 82 with the average, and 86% is recommendations. So that's pretty good. Let's get that big old dumb Addo out of our way. That's where you guys aren't missing much. So, anyone in chat, if you guys have any kind of takeaways from the reviews, let me know what you think in the chat, and I'll kind of get to that. But the reviews today were kind of weird. I wasn't, surprised by any of them. I'm in a weird spot where, obviously I've played the Japanese version to completion. I knew what to kind of expect going into it, but it was also in that weird spot of we're coming off of Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal just getting 9s across the boards, 10s across the boards. Like, they were, like, it's almost like they weren't even having to try just to, like, rank in all of those points and stuff. So with Strikers, I actually kind of expected it to be almost as easy, if not easier. Actually, it's really funny. I'm talking about this, and I'm looking at the like top PS4 games of last year. The highest rated PS4 game of last year. I guess we're not counting Persona 5 Royal for some reason by Metascore. It shows as Dragon Quest XI S, the definitive edition Switch version. I find it funny that like that one's the number one. So for PS4, that's the actual price. Well, that's the actual price. That's the actual score. For Switch and PC, I know it's going to be a little bit different, but PS4, I guess we can actually talk about that first. So why on Metacritic and online are you going to see a higher average for review score on PS4 when compared to PC and Switch? So obviously with PC, there are not as many people reviewing it on that platform, and depending on the reviewer, obviously things are going to be like kind of gauging from more highly positive or highly negative. So there's no like all-in-one answer for that one. Switch, I think you're actually getting kind of the opposite problem of Switch. There are so many reviewers there, and it might be a little bit lower because there's not as many people there really. I'm trying to think of a good way to review it. Like, there's like no one reviewing the game on Switch for the most part is reviewing it on a curve like they might be on PlayStation 4. So the curve I'm talking about is with PS4. That's where a lot of people are playing this because, in terms of versions that are going to get out there and has the most chance of getting out there, that's definitely the PlayStation 4 version. And actually, so going at the current score on Metacritic, PC is at 79, not that different from this morning when it dropped. Switch is a little bit higher, it's at an 81, and PS4 is at 85. So pretty much hanging around that 8/8.5 score, which I was kind of expecting, and definitely lines up with the 82 that OpenCritic has, kind of getting all of them together. So first thing I guess I want to like talk about with like review platforms, I feel like there weren't really a lot of PC scores. And actually that goes into the whole thing of why the PC one is going to be so low. Most reviews did it on PS4. The middle amount of reviews were definitely on Switch, and the lowest were on PC, which is actually kind of funny because you think going into this release, one of its biggest appeals is the fact that, like, oh, holy shit, this is actually going to be on not all systems, but a lot of systems. So just kind of running this down, Windows Central gave it a 10 out of 10. PC Invasion gave it an 8.5. PC Games In gave it an 8. RPG Site gave it an 8. And PC Gamer is one I kind of want to get into, is a weird one. PC Gamer gave it a 63. So PC Gamer's review is a really weird one where its biggest criticism against the game, and obviously this is just my opinion of someone else's opinion, so say with that what you will, but one of my like biggest like weird things about it was, and I saw this at various other review sites, I could not get over people docking points off Strikers because it didn't have everything Persona 5 had. It was so strange to me, like. And one of the things that came up in the PC Gamer review was like, oh, well, where's the social elements? Like, where are these relationships I want to form? I need confidants and blah, blah, blah. And it was just so strange to me of, like, just because it's called Persona 5 doesn't mean that it has to have everything a Persona game has. And I mentioned this on Twitter. It was, just, like, so weird about it was, like, look at the fact that the game, in every other like non-mainline title, dancing, no one brings up confidants really. Persona Q, no one brings up social elements. Look at the arena games, no one talks about, oh, where's the bliss, where's the that. So I don't know if it's because Strikers is kind of like a 1.5 or a full-on sequel to Persona 5, that's why it's having that comparison. But like at the same time, it's also made by a completely different developer. It's not a turn-based RPG. It has multiple elements from Persona 5, but like docking points for something that's not there and was never expected to be there has always seemed like a weird one for me. what was this? Reese in the chat brings up a great point of saying the Switch version runs like hot trash or whatever. So I've looked at almost every review for the Switch version. I'm going to go to all the Switch reviews I have queued up right here. Almost none of them have brought up the performance. It's really, really weird. Even our like lowest review we have on Switch right now on Metacritic is by Digital Trends, who gave it a 5 out of 10, which a little low there, guys. But again, your opinions, go for it if you want. But what's so weird about it was like the reason it's so low on the Switch one is because it's like, felt like the story was a little bit too long and didn't really enjoy like the whole experience that was there. Felt very like fan servicey, which like, hey, you can talk about it if you want. But no Switch review that I've said has really talked about the technical stats at all. The most I've seen was, I think, Nintendo World Report was talking about the fact that there's no anti-aliasing and that it's at 30 FPS. But I repeatedly saw from people saying, hey, what is it? People saying, hey, the Switch version has like no stuttering. It's 30 FPS, but you're not going to get that much worse of an experience. But what's so interesting about that is like, yeah, I can get that, but like I've seen footage of the late game, and I'm not trying to say this in the sense of like, hey, these people weren't doing their job well enough. Like, obviously, if you're and this is a long game. Like, I don't expect everyone to have reviewed this game to play it on, let alone more than one system. I just find it interesting of like, I'm actually on the sense of like, oh, maybe they've actually patched it more than I'm aware of on the Switch version, and by the time we get this in America, it's going to be of a lot higher quality, which would be great. I hope that is the case, so I'm excited to get my hands on it and find out. But I think once we get this in the hands of a lot more people, we'll know about those like frame rate comparisons, just because at the very least, man, I really, really hope Digital Foundry does something on this, just because I know Persona games aren't necessarily known for their technical like chops and stuff, but the few times they have talked about Koei Tecmo games, it has been interesting. Like, this game does have a visual mode, this game does have a performance mode, all the different PC options, running it at 4K versus 30, 60 and stuff like that. And even like when the game is fully out for everybody, I'm excited to see someone like uncap the frame rate. Like, you know, that mod's going to be coming day one. Like, seeing this game running at like 200 frames a second while running like hot ass will be just delightful to see. Jacket, quick question in the chat, says, why release Striker reviews 2 weeks before the release date? It seems weird to me. So, Jackie, you bring up a great point. I was actually thinking about that too, in the sense of, I felt like it was a little early. February is not that crowded of a month, and I'm actually going to be looking this up now, video games coming out this year, because I feel like they could have pushed it to like Tuesday of that, like last week, like, because it's still before the digital deluxe edition's out. And like, I feel like we're actually at that cusp where like people might forget that this game got reviewed by the time it finally releases, which you never want to have happen. Okay, so here's a great example. Another review that dropped today at the exact same time was Little Nightmares 2. Little Nightmares 2 comes out in 2 days. Perfect time. Release your reviews, get your impressions, get all of that good praise. Like, Little Nightmares 2 is getting a lot of good praise from what I've seen. And that review's kind of come out like that. Another one, like Super Mario 3D World, is coming out on Friday. I'm sure we're going to get reviews either tomorrow or Thursday or something, because those copies have been out for a while. It's like, keep it close to the release date as you possibly can, because like, you're not, like, no review is going to like kind of wow people to the point of like, oh my god, I gotta pre-order this thing, that they haven't already, or if they weren't going to pick it up. So I think if you actually held off the reviews until next week, because I'm looking at next week, and next week is very light. The only releases there's coming out is Azure Lane Crosswave on Switch, Fallen Legion, shout out to that one, another good RPG coming out on Switch and PS4, Speed Limit, SNK versus Capcom, that's just the arcade port on Switch, Speed Limit on Windows, Silver Case in Japan on Switch. Yeah, like nothing like that crazy. I just saw this. Thomas's Alone is finally coming out on the same day that Strikers is releasing early digitally, and I just find that very funny of like, oh my god, the game's not on Switch? Like, hey, shout out to you, Thomas Was Alone. So yeah, like, I think if they waited till next week, give it closer, like, make it Tuesday of, I guess whatever a week from now is, so do the 16th, and that way you have a couple of days before, what is it? You have 3 days before the digital deluxe edition unlocks. Get people say, hey, this game's great. If you want to play it early, pre-order the, don't want to call it crappy digital deluxe version. I just have a really big stick up my butt of like, I don't like that there's the digital deluxe version that makes it play early. Everything else about it just kind of irks me in a weird way. Let me get back to people talking so I'm not ignoring anybody. Hey, we got Cross Ren still in here. We got Abid. We've got Faz. Hello, Faz. I didn't know you were in here, let alone were aware that I do stuff. Also had a really, really early review embargo. Yeah, the weird one with that was... Yeah, the preview embargo made sense for me in the sense of like, hey, people had copies since like January, so like do with it what you will. Previews don't really matter as much to me as the reviews do, just in terms of getting wide stream appeal in terms of like marketing this. And even like the reviews today, I haven't really seen it blowing up. I haven't seen like, yeah, it was trending, but it's like it's competition was Little Nightmares 2 and like almost no news really going on. Like I heard just as many people talking about CD Projekt Red today and people talking about what was it, Anthem. So like it was just kind of like a middling news day, not a lot going on. Like I heard it just as much Crash Bandicoot talk online as I did about Strikers. So it's not like it was one of those things that's like, oh hey, everyone's going to it's like, hey, everyone's gonna like suck this up and eat us up for the next 2 weeks. I fully 100% like. Okay, now actually, here's like tinfoil hat time. I think this might actually happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they are doing media today. And I know that streamers, because I was talking to a friend of mine who has a code, who I guess I'm being weird about saying his name or not. There you go, you got the gender. A friend I know has the code, and one of the review restrictions was kind of weird because he wasn't getting the code as like a reviewer, he was getting it as a streamer, even though he's not a streamer. Faz, you might be able to like talk about this or not in the chat if you want, but the embargo for them was literally the day of or the day before the digital deluxe version, and then it was like, hey, you can upload before this, but if you want to live stream the game, you have to wait until like the week of the digital deluxe version, and then you can live stream it. So maybe they're expecting like influencers and streamers to stream it then, which like still is the case. I read all the games that are coming out. People aren't going to be like clamoring for Mario live streams next week, so they still have a chance of getting a lot of people kind of sold on it there. But then I'm in like the weird camp of, even me like personally as someone who covers the series, I don't know if like I want to stream the game from like start to finish, like how like that would really interest. So like, one of the things I was actually wanting to ask everyone for, like, this week's Evoker of the Week, and please let me know what you all think, for the whether it be the channel or SMTN, this is not podcast related, this is just kind of more of, like, the YouTube channel question. Do you have any interest in watching me play through the game? Do you want, do you want me to stream it as, like, a full playthrough that I can do on the stream? Obviously, like, I would play it in my downtime. But, like, like, obviously you can play it in your downtime, or you can play it, like, with everyone else. Would you want, like, a commentary one? Would you not want a commentary one? I've never really done, like, a full playthrough on my channel before, but for a game like this, especially one where, like, would you want me just to play it and skip through the story? Like, I could do New Game Plus. New Game Plus would be pretty fine. That way, it'd be after the release pretty easily and not have a lot of people there. Just... if you want me to play through the game, let me know. If you don't, also please let me know. I'm not a huge fan of Let's Plays, so God knows I have no idea on what to talk about when it comes to Let's Plays. So let's go check on the chat, because chat's talking some stuff, and I saw my very beautiful, very handsome friend, Mr. Velvet Network, pop in here. Alright, talking to people. Golden Playhouse says, man, Atlas, disrespect his collectors. Very true. That digital deluxe version, getting it early, is very, like, F you to the physical collectors, but they already know we're gonna buy it. Chugga. Velvet Network says, at least this embargo wasn't like last year's. P5R embargo was the same day as the P5S demo. Oh, man, I forgot all about that. That was very funny, especially because they pushed up the embargo date because of the demo. When the unannounced Japanese game has more hype than your preview embargo, not a good sign. Let's see. Faz says, correct. You were not allowed to post content after Alice's boss fight, and you can post minor stuff on the 19th and whatever you want on the 23rd, which is basically code for, like... now, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I guess we can kind of get into, like... Oh, Kill 'em all, good idea, talking about the Twitter poll. See, that's another weird one, though, of, like, how many options am I going to make? Am I going to do no playthrough, playthrough commentary, playthrough live stream, or playthrough no comment? Like, I can't even, like, think of the other ones, but... Well, we'll probably throw some other stuff out there, but yeah. Twitter and Facebook poll would be a good idea, so thank you for the suggestion, Kill 'em all. So yeah, like, talking about the Atlas stuff that Faz brings up, I feel like people were just, like, posting stuff on Twitter today, like, oh, reviews are up? Okay, let's just share everything from the game. And it's like, guys, this is the review embargo. Like, unless you have a leaked copy of the game, spoilers are very much not cool. And even if it's just like, lol, Ryuji says a funny word, that's still a spoiler to someone. Like, I found, like, really weird that, like, people didn't really understand this, like, context. Like, now, obviously, something like, let's say, like, Faz's channel, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it, because, like, I don't really have, like, a good way of, like, Faz's channel is kind of like a, like, congregation of, like, various different things, whether it be unknown, like, stuff, like things that was, like, left out of the game, or like different, like, compilations, or like showing, like, gameplay and different aspects of things. I think if you're subscribed to Faz's channel, you could at least see the thumbnail and know whether you want to click on that or not. At the very least, though, like, stuff like Twitter is a lot more different, of, like, people sharing things around. Some people might have, like, autoplay up, like, just little things like that. That's why I was, like, what I thought was so funny about some people not really getting about me tweeting, specifically taking a picture, not retweeting it, of Jamie is cool, I think. I totally forgot the name. I got banned by him, by the way, which is very funny, considering I can't even remember his name. But I got banned by him without even mentioning him, just screenshotting the post. But what I thought was funny is my whole point of that was literally just to say, hey, don't spoil this game for people. Like, take the Faz comment out of there if you want or not. Like, that doesn't really matter. Like, the whole thing I don't get is, like, how does this need a reminder? And the weirder part is, how is no one at Atlas being like, hey, numbnuts, don't show off this game yet. People don't even have it till, like, another couple of days or so. It's like, we've waited this long. Like, why spoil yourself on freaking, like, English dub spoilers? And it's like, yeah, like, people have been waiting on this game. Yes, we've only known it, like, was officially coming in the West, like, less than 3 months ago. But at the same time, it's like, dude, we're so close to the finish line. Why be posting that stuff? Like, I feel like people were making a bigger deal out of Royal spoilers than they were for Striker spoilers, which is like, no offense, there's more new story content in Strikers than Royal. So, like, why are we not giving this game the amount of respect that it deserves? Oh my god, I love water. Water's really good, guys. Don't let me talk too long. I'm the only one on here. Daniel 1018 says SMT2 is coming to Switch Online in Japan soon. I'm going to assume you're correct, but I'm going to look it up as well. Switch Online. Because if it is, I'm going to get into my little talk I do about this, because I'm very weird. Famicom Switch Online games. Here we go. Wow, they just really don't want to, like, give me the update for this. So, assuming you're correct either way, because Google search didn't want to be nice to me, but... Hello, Pi Studios. So, really, like, just quick thing, before I get into more questions, please feel free to throw some. I'll be getting into there. I just can't get excited about the Switch Online games, because, yes, they're quote-unquote free if you pay for Switch Online, which I don't. As soon as that service dies, you're losing those games. So, like, when they added SMT to Switch Online back in, like, July of last year, I wasn't jealous. It was like, it's okay. So, like, it's, like, just really dumb for me of, like, you're basically just making a convenient way to play a ROM that's going to explode one day. So it's like, yeah, it's legal, but at the same time, you're not going to put this on. Like, if it was in English, that'd be cool because it's like, oh, here's a convenient way to do it in English. But I would hate for the next version of SMT to be made as just like some rent a virtual console experience. Like Reese says in there, just give me virtual console. Like, let me do what Fire Emblem does. Let me pay you $6, translate the game, give me save states. There you go. Move on. Until then, the Switch online games for Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Nintendo, I just could not care for at all. Golden Play says, Spencer question, do you hate the idea of posting gameplay reviews do you hate the idea of posting gameplay reviews, posting videos, or streaming the game early? So, I know I kind of talked about this a little bit with, like, Twitter stuff, but specifically, in terms of showing content of the game, I think that's totally fine in the context of like, hey, I want to talk to you guys about the game, or I want to show you the game. Like, just look at my channel, and I've shown various things. Like, when Strikers got announced back in December, I live streamed myself playing, I think, 3 or 4 different jail cells. I didn't do any story, and I don't count any of those as spoilers. Like, yeah, you could be like, oh my god, there's a level that takes place in the city, and then there's a level that takes place in the city with snow. There's nothing really, like, that spoilery about it, and, like, the most spoilery you could really get is being like, oh my god, that guy in the cover, you can play as him? Like, anyone who, like, the fact that you can't show Zenkichi in the reviews officially, according to Atlas, like, you can't show Zenkichi's gameplay or say he's a Phantom Thief, I find absolutely hilarious. It's like, I saw someone posted a comment on a video that was like, I love how we've, like, all the voice actors and video game journalists and Atlas have just had to basically lie to themselves and say, hey, we promise this game didn't come out last year in Japan. It's just like, it just totally ignoring the obvious. Oh, Velvet Network, you are... Velvet Network, you are giving me hope, but then at the same time, like, it's literally... I think I might make this tweet. As soon as... No, not the day of. Just to be funny, though, the day after Strikers is out, we should just have a bunch of people on Twitter be like, Atlas, where's SMT3 Remastered? You told us spring. Come on, give us some news. Because you know the release date's 99% not coming before Striker's release date, but it has to come this month. I cannot imagine they get out of February without doing it. So I would just think it'd be really funny if, like, after us waiting so long for this, they're like, all right, hey, what about that game from July? Give us that release date. Because I still think March is going to be pretty quiet for them, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't think they'd want to put anything out that close to Strikers. Yakuza's in its own boat because it's only the PS5 version, and I think putting it in April still makes sense, even with Judgment still coming out, because Judgment's re-release is like, no offense, Judgment did not do very well in the West. Like, it reviewed okay. It sold very badly. There's a reason Microsoft didn't even pay for the money to get exclusivity or put it on Game Pass. They were like, you can take the Stadia money. We're good. Don't worry about it. Have fun. Go do your thing. We'll let people buy it. But yeah, so that's just, that's just one of those weird ones of, like, I think April just still, in my gut, makes the most sense to me. I hope it's not further back than April, because it's like, I think the closer to the beginning of the year you can put these games on, the better. Especially just because we're going to start getting into more new games. Like, imagine in a post-Resident Evil 8 world, being excited for SMT Nocturne from just, like, a casual fans level. Like, obviously I'm going to be excited for it nonetheless, but, like, oh my god, like, when the choice is native PlayStation 5 game or better looking but kind of buggier PS2 game, you've got a little bit of problem there. That one I'm very excited to see the reviews for. I'll be very, like, now that I'm, like, seeing that Strikers is getting, like, mid to low 8s, I'm like, is Nocturne gonna review, like, in the 7s? Because, like, now I'm in this thing of, like, okay, so clearly there's not, like, some bias that anything Atlas touches gets instant 8.5s and 9s. So I'm like, there's a reason I didn't put Nocturne in my Fantasy Critic League. Like, just to put this into perspective, this is what's so crazy. Speaking of Fantasy Critic Leagues, right now, I'm the only one in our Fantasy Critic League out of Duke and Torin. I'm the only one with a game that is reviewable. Honey Pop still doesn't have any reviews that I'm aware of. So I have Neo Collection and Persona 5 Strikers. It is insane to me, like, actually insane to me, that the Neo Collection is reviewing higher than Strikers. Like, no, and not saying like one's better than the other, but I just would have figured like, oh, obviously like, like obviously the Persona game's gonna review higher than like the Dark Souls ripoff or whatever. But nope, people are still very very excited for that. Oh, the problem with water, man. You just want to drink more of it. It's so good. Oh, all right, let me check. Let me catch up with chat a little bit more before we get back into talking whatever we're talking about. Here we go, from NCS07. Do you think that the SMT3 remaster is even worth getting instead of the original? It's a lot harder because my time with it has been a lot more kind of just checking it out. I didn't buy the version, obviously. I only have the Steelbook. I've played both the PS4 and Switch version, and I think it's still too early. I want to really sink my teeth into it. Remember, in terms of America, we're still coming from, in the Western audience in general, we're in a little bit of a different side of, okay, if this does happen, like when Nocturne Remastered does come out, we are a lot easier, well, hypothetically, we should be easier to sell it on because we've never had the Raito version officially playable from an Atlas release. We've only ever had the modded version with the translation. So the Japanese version did not have that. They literally were just like, hey, here's your old game again. So we are getting something new, kind of similar to a Final Mix version. So there could be that as a bit of a bump there. And remember, we still don't even know the price. I'm still praying to God they're smart and sell that game for $30, but you never know what to expect these days. Alright, so let's see. Golden Playhouse also says, Spencer, question. Do you think it's about time that they port the Nintendo eShop onto the eShop SMT1 and 2? I think we're beyond that, but also at that point, there's no virtual console really set up there, so I think Atlas would have to go out of their way to make that happen, and they've still continuously shown no interest in really keeping their legacy titles easily playable, so I don't think it's happening anytime soon, and I especially don't expect SMT ports to be happening in a Persona 5, in a Persona anniversary year. That'd be even kind of more random, but hey, again, prove me wrong. We had Faz comment again saying Persona PC Gamer gave Persona Strikers a 6 because no social links here. That was again, I'm not trying to like cast stones of like, man, what a bad opinion, because obviously everyone's opinion is their own. Not every game is a masterpiece, not every game is hot trash. But like, yeah, like there are just some reviews. Like, here's a good example of another review that I definitely didn't agree with, but I was like, hey, also I'm biased and I consider him a friend, but Michael Hyam from GameSpot. So GameSpot's review was like an 8. And I really liked Michael's review. There was a couple of things in there that I might not have necessarily agreed with, but one of the interesting things, there were two interesting things I noted from there. I'm trying to pull up his review now because actually I'm curious if he's changed it. So in Michael's review, I was really curious about pulling it up now, because I want to see if he has changed it or not. So Michael's review, one of the things he talked about was how some of the portrayals of the jail keepers, which are basically like the bosses in each level, are not necessarily the best representation or might be considered problematic. That one I kind of didn't really vibe with myself personally. A good example of that is one of the jail masters is basically goes from a wealthy, greedy lady, and her boss form is very gluttonous and is kind of about like basically is like displayed as like her evil like true self in the jail is very large, like almost like an obese woman, like, and for me, I was kind of taking that back as like, oh well, obviously it's to like represent her gluttony and like her attitude and stuff like that towards it. But obviously for other people, like maybe showing something like that might be like better, not, and also again, I haven't seen the English version that he played for the context, so maybe the context is really bad, maybe they make like fat jokes or something, but I didn't get that vibe at all. So, chugga, chugga, chugga. The other one, which I'm trying to find now, this might have actually just straight up got nuked. I really appreciated Michael in his review giving a shout out to the soundtrack. I think he just got rid of it. He had a section in the soundtrack, and it is still in the video review, unless I doubt that got taken out, but... here we go. The power of music. Let's see if this has changed. No, it is not. That is okay. Michael is aware of this, but one of the things I have seen people talking about Persona 5 Scramble's / Striker soundtrack is, hey, this game's soundtrack is great. The Persona team nailed it again. And one of the things that, like, and this is just obviously my comic book nerd me coming out being a big dum-dum, but one of the things about that was, like, hey... literally one guy at Atlas was a composer on this, and he did very, very little by comparison of it. The majority of the soundtrack was actually all composed at Koei Tecmo. Koei Tecmo had a majority of their sound team on the Omega Force side working on this. Meguro, supervised it, but he was basically like a producer of, he gave it a thumbs up or he gave it a thumbs down. There's no song that Meguro worked on, unless he, for whatever reason, just didn't want anyone to know. Meguro's in there in the same way that, Kaneko is in there. Kaneko is in there just because, they're legally obligated to include him in the credits, even though he probably doesn't even know what the game looks like. Although the mental image out there of Kazuma Kaneko playing Strikers does make my fucking, that does bring a smile to my face. Let's check over the chat again one more time. Hey, again, if you want to be mad at... if you want to be mad at the fact that, what is it? If you want to be mad at the fact that there is a, what is it? If you want to be mad that there's a 6, remember that someone gave this a 5 on Switch because they thought the story was too long. And this game's 40 hours. Holy crap, Peter Parker in the chat. Peter Parker, thank you so much for, I think you're the only one who ever does super chats here, but thank you for the $2.99. He says, when do you think Atlas will make announcements? So... Peter Parker, if I'm putting on my tinfoil hat of I definitely have no insider knowledge, but I definitely know enough people on the inside to guess this properly, I think Strikers comes out in 2 weeks. I think you get a release date either at the end of that week or before March. March, they're going to be quiet, maybe show off the game, put previews out there, and let people get their hands on it. Because I know right now nobody has the game. I know the game's done. I did talk about that with Nocturne a little bit earlier of... Nocturne, at least the voice acting, I know. All the voice acting has been done since pre-2021. Outside of that, I cannot imagine anything about that game being, not done. So, you would hope they do it soon, because really, why hold on to that game any longer than you have to? So, in terms of that, that's about the only thing you should really expect. In terms of the Persona 1... I'd say another Persona announcement could probably happen by June, but they're definitely not going to rush it. If Scramble has taught us anything, going from Scramble to Strikers taking over 10 months was just insane, so they're clearly in no hurry, but they're also not just going to sit on this year and not do anything for the anniversary. SMT5 is another one of I don't think you're going to hear anything till fall, and then when you hear anything, you're going to get a sweet gameplay trailer, and then you're going to find out it's delayed till next year. But yeah, Peter Parker, thank you so much for the super chat. It's really, really appreciated. And if anyone does want to super chat, I will melt over your question or comment as much as you want, because God knows I am very broke and very much appreciate anyone who financially helps out. Alright. Zero in Tokyo is in here. Hello. Sheba Master, also, I don't think I gave you a shout out, but thank you here. Gamer Database, also. Kooky Chris, hello. Krillcast, bringing in everyone in here. Navi, hello. Are we allowed to call you Oracle? You have a Kasumi image, so I'm gonna guess no. So Navi says, the P5S soundtrack is insanely good. So true. Faz says, no fat jokes on the name of the place that I could say, but people don't actually know what it is. So yeah, no fat jokes in the English version, at least that we are aware. The Joke Store. That's a good name, actually. Chugga, pizza time, catching up on the chat, so apologies for being slow. Let's see. It's been more than 30 minutes, I hate paying. Yeah, if we could just quote all Spider-Man memes the whole time, that is very appropriate. I don't mind that at all. Spider-Man memes are very appropriate. Especially because, like, after this, I'm probably... If I don't go to bed after this episode, I'm probably just going to go and finally platinum Miles Morales. Because, God, I gotta free up some hard drive space on the PS5. How is 40 hours too long for a game? That's what I'm wondering as well. Because like one of my favorite parts of playing Scramble was I was like, man, this story is really great. And it's really long, and it doesn't because it's very linear. It doesn't feel like it's wasting your time because all the side content is just optional requests and stuff. So I was just like seeing the like complaint that 50 hours, like 30 to 50 hours, is too long for a story mode. I'm like, what is wrong with some people? Killamo says, Crash 4 update coming in. Spencer, are you getting it now? 100%. I have to get it. I'm beyond late on playing Crash 4 to begin with, so the fact that it's coming out on PS5 next month, I can't wait. I wish it was 40. I don't know why they're holding out on 60 again for everything that's not Switch. That seems really weird, but yeah, so... Assuming I have cash for it, tax return times, cross your fingers, so I would love to play Crash 4 on PS5, especially with the loading. Let's see, Navi says they're probably just waiting for the Persona 5 Scramble to release to start promoting... Oh yeah, sorry, I read your question so weird. Again, my brain is being weird. Let's see what else we got. You guys are very, very active in YouTube chat. Just wants me to keep bumping right now. Nogoro says SMT5 December 4th, 2022. Okay, so I thought you were going to say this year. That actually makes more sense. I don't think you're actually that insane. I could legitimately see SMT5 getting pushed back until fall of next year. And, like, I don't know why I have to, like, keep telling people this, but it's like, guys, this is a game, there are 0 seconds... there are 0 seconds of calling anyone... Sorry. There's 0 seconds of any gameplay. No screenshots, no nothing. So it's like, hey, cool, so you think that's coming out this year? It's probably not. But man, again, it would be great to be wrong. I don't think that they would ever do that, but could be really, really cool. Navi, I saw your message for like a second. If I called you something else, I apologize greatly. Let she hear what else we have. Have I seen WandaVision? It is getting so good. Oh my god. Yes, I want to talk about it so bad, but how do you talk about WandaVision on an SMT podcast, and how do you not talk about spoilers when talking about it? All I can say is please, guys, please, please, please watch WandaVision if you love MCU. Faz, I'm going to have to call shenanigans on this. I'm going to have to call shenanigans on this, not because I don't love you, but also because that retailer leak is like, dude, like anybody can do a retailer leak. There are as many right retailer leaks as there are wrong ones. And like this was the same leak that like for whatever reason these got updated at the same time. Some retailer was like, I'm going to put a placeholder date for Nocturne 8 Remaster and I'm going to put one for Breath of the Wild 2. Like I have quite a few retail connections still. There are 0 retailers with any knowledge from Atlas about when Nocturne is coming out. Like they have ideas, but there's no specific date. I'm not saying it can't be May, I'm just saying that leak is 100% not the reason. Cross Ren, I really want to talk about the Hee-Ho scene, but that's kind of spoilers as well. I'm not going to talk about it. I have thoughts on it. I'll say the Hee-Ho scene, I have thoughts on it. Hopefully in context, I like it a little bit more in English. I was very underwhelmed, but that's all I will say. Pie Studios, yes, it was an Australian store, so maybe their times are upside down. Who knows? Oh man, as an Oscar, Reese is passing it off, man. No, girl, it's too late. You may have been joking, but watch it be true. Watch if SMT5 does come out in 2022, and it's all gonna be your fault. We're gonna remember this moment. All right, I am almost caught up here. Speaking of David, the Discord server will hate on you if you say SMT5. That is why we're not in other people's Discords. The SMTN Discord is the only safe space I have on the internet, apparently. Let's see. Crowcast Atlas in 2021. SMT5 is now delayed to Q1 2023. Oh man, I've never even thought about that. That'd be so funny. Shadow dropping Project Refantasy. I want the world to know this right now. Project Refantasy is so far away from releasing. Like, people don't understand it, unless your name is LaRue, who thinks the game's really close to being done because he reads interviews. Project Ray Fantasy, I don't know if it's mistranslations. I don't know if they're just really, really trolling everybody over at, like, Studio Zero. Project Ray Fantasy is literally not even a game right now. I'm sure they know how it's going to play. I'm sure they are doing a great job on that game. But, think about, like, Strikers announcement. This is this is like the big brain, like, to Galaxy brain motion. Strikers complaining because it's not announced in the West. Understandable, but could be like, hey, listen, just wait, it's going to come out eventually. No big deal. SMT5, listen, I know it's been a long time. I know it's been quote-unquote delayed or just silenced into forever. Not a big deal. It's going to happen eventually. Re-Fantasy literally is nothing but concept art and concept soundtrack. Like, we don't even have a name for this game. It is called Project Re-Fantasy for a reason. Octopath Traveler was closer to getting a name at this point in its development, so I can't wait for that game. But man, every time I think of Project Re-Fantasy, I'm like, why are we talking about this? It's like that game is nowhere near close to coming out. Oh my god! But yeah, I would love that so much. Faz, I want to just will it into existence, but I'm just. Please let SMT3 Remaster come out on 420. It would just be too funny. Oh, I'm getting sad, dude. I'm getting down on my water. I have another drink, though, so not the end of the world. But it's definitely not a water. Alright, we're going to change up. Assuming no one else has any other questions, I'm going to finish up talking about a couple other review things I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, because I had a big one that really grinded my gears today. Golden Playhouse says, everyone remember that if SMT5 gets delayed till next year, I want you all to go to my server on Discord or David's server and just send a laugh emoji and say I told you it would be delayed. Oh my god. Okay, so how was the IGN review? The IGN review was fine. I was surprised Jonathan Dornbush didn't actually review it. Let me go to actually... I know it was an 8. Who reviewed this at IGN? Alessandro D... Nope, that's IGN Italy, but hey, it's good enough, I guess. True that person did review it, not the person I was looking at. But yeah, IGN just gave it a flat 8. A lot of 8s for this. Like, I was actually kind of surprised how many 8s I saw for Strikers. So, a little bit of a weird nitpick. It's something I want to talk about, and I'm curious what you all think here, because I know not a lot of you have PlayStation 5s yet. I noticed a lot of reviewers who were reviewing Persona 5 Strikers on PS4 were playing on PS5 specifically. And I wonder why this didn't maybe come up. Maybe they just didn't think that there would be that much of a graphical difference or performance difference. I didn't see anybody talk about there being any difference like that, and on top of that, nobody, on no version I've seen for any review, and I haven't read every review, but for all the reviews I saw out there, not a single one talked about the load times. And if you're not playing on a PC and you're not playing on a 5, oh, by the way, shout out to Tom Marks. Tom Marks reviewed it at IGN, he gave it an 8. Nobody talked about the performance of it, in the sense of, those loads, dude, are really long. Long even if you, basically, again, if you're not running on a high-end PC or a PS5, those things are just super slow. And the fact that the Switch one didn't talk about it. Not a lot of load time. Okay, now cross-rendering, Faz doing a video is very different than someone reviewing the game. No offense, and I think Faz can even attest to this, Faz is not out there showing the game... Faz is not out there showing the game in a critical sense. I don't know if Faz plans on doing a review, but showing graphical comparisons in a specific video are different than, hey, let's show off the why can I not think of it's different than saying hey, here's me showing this feature, or here is me reviewing the game. Hey, speaking of people reviewing the game, hello, Kuro from the Midnight Channel. So Mary Nolan asks, what about the PlayStation 4 Pro? So the PS4 Pro is good. It definitely loads faster than the standard PS4, and especially more in the Switch. But the PS5 just like it's like night and day. It's totally just a different scenario. You can't really even compare them. Like if I had to rank all the consoles, PC's in its own sphere just because it's so modular and stuff. So at the top we have PlayStation 5 with literally like second long load times. It's like load, you're there. Next is Pro, next is Standard, and then next is Switch, which is not that surprising to some people. But even with different tests, like I remember I tried doing it on a HDD hard drive, the internal one. I've done external ones. I've done internal SSDs on PS4s. Not that much of a difference. A lot of it is definitely up to the CPU kind of working extra hard on the PS5 and Pro there that makes the difference. Okay, good to know about Faz. So, spoilers. Faz, you can spoil tech stuff. We'll spoil tech stuff all day. That's definitely fine. He hosts scenes we can't talk about. So Faz says PS5 times. I think. Okay, I read it as PS5. No, Faz says P5S loads on my PC in 5 seconds from launch to title screen NVMe SSD. So, assuming with that, I assume you are skipping the Omega Force and Atlas logo, which I actually don't know if you can do on the, just because I normally never do, but for PS5 I know it's not that long either of it. I don't think it's 5 seconds, but it's pretty comparable for it. But like load to boot time, it's really weird with Strikers because there's not a lot of loading really when you're playing. As soon as you once you get out of those mid-area loads, there's not a lot. The menus are very snappy. Walking around the world's very snappy. The action's very fast. Like when that game's running at either 60 or 30 FPS, like it's very fast and it gets going there. Yeah, so he said that's including spamming. Faz, I don't actually know your gender or pronouns, whatever you want. So if I horribly butchered them, please feel free to correct me. But Faz is saying, yes, spamming X on the controller while launching the game there. Alright, so I think I was also going to talk about it because we're talking about PCs. Oh, I have another question. Because I will definitely forget this. Golden Playhouse says, Spencer, would you be mad if Vincent and Yuffie were optional in the... Oh, okay. Without even saying this, would I be mad? No. I'd give a shout-out to be big respect for that. Would they actually do it? No way, Jose. They have to. Any long days are like... Yeah, well, I feel like the long loading days for the calendars is literally just them flexing that they have the calendar system. You could gut that, like, instantly. So, talking about the PC, this was not really necessarily, like, review topic-wise, but I'm actually going to open on my email. So, I did something bad, and I emailed Atlas West today, because I like to disappoint myself. So, I emailed Zach over at the PR team, and did not get a reply back. But I did email him this because I've actually not heard a lot of people talking about this. I said, "Hi, Zach. I'm trying to figure out if Atlas West has any plans right now to patch Persona 5 Strikers on consoles to match the settings that PC has. Now, if you're not aware of this, the PC settings are a lot greater. Now, obviously, you don't need to have stuff like graphical settings. There are like performance and visual stuff on PS4, but the big settings that people are kind of bummed about." The big settings that people are bummed about are the audio settings, which the literal only reason those are in the PC one and not the console versions is because the PC port was finished after the console's version, and apparently no one had the bright idea of bringing those features over to console and having parity. And one of the interesting things that I had this come up to me of like, oh, why would that be a big deal, is I've actually seen quite a few reviews talk about the fact that they don't like how much the English voiceover dialogue talks over each other. So when you're in battle, you're going to get a lot of those, oh yeah, let's go, okay, come on, let's go, alright. You're going to get like all those little like quippy moments that like, as someone like me who plays a lot of Warriors games, A, half of those games are almost not dubbed at this point, if that. But B, I'm so used to those kind of things, but like, yeah, like if you're not into that, that might be kind of annoying to you. So having an option for controlling like voice volume in battle, out of battle, or like changing sound effects and stuff like that, it's definitely like an interesting thing to think about. See, Faz says, PC having audio settings which are a godsend lowered my background music by 2, and it seems like that's how it's meant to be. Yeah, so, like, just having that control, like, there's no reason not to have it in there, but it gets into our big thing of Atlas kind of being, like, the worst in terms of ever patching their games for features that would make sense and should be easy to do. Unless forced. Which, obviously, I don't think enough people are going to complain about the PC settings not being in consoles, but I could be wrong. Again, am I expecting a reply back? No, but it was one of those things of, like, my hope was, like, oh, I'd love to get this answered and then talk about it on the podcast, but I also was kind of realistic. I was like, yeah, we're probably not going to get it answered. Faz says, also, PC, for some reason, has an option to view normal and localized credits. What? So, Faz, assuming you've done this, does that mean viewing the credits without the Western localization and staffing it? Because, like, Persona 5 Scramble's credits are all in English. That's the only thing. Like, the only difference is it would maybe hypothetically be shorter. But, like, the songs are the same. I've even seen the credits for Strikers. So that's, like, really weird. I don't know why you would do that. Hold on. I'm going to open up my drink very far away from the microphone. God forbid I mute myself. Okay. We're pouring in. We're being very rude. Everyone, please forgive me for my lack of muting myself. It's very late at night and I'm very thirsty. Alright. Oh my god, I need that. Ooh, Krillcast says, sounds like Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. Literally everyone's shouting the whole time. Xenoblade Chronicles gets away with it because everyone's amazing and beautiful. I'm really curious about how that pour sounded. Speaking of audio settings. Reese says, Jesus, please bring the volume control. They were generally get the mixing pretty good, but sometimes I just want to lower the sound effects. Yeah, I mean, like, at the very least, like, obviously the soundtrack's a banger, but, like, let's say if you just wanted to play it and, like, start playing Usher's Yeah in the background, you don't want to have Daredevil and Usher's Yeah back-to-back. That just sounds uncomfortable. Oh, here we go. Faz says, on the title screen at the options, you have an option to view credits and view the localization credits. It's for some reason not on the PS4 and Switch version. Alright, so I'm guessing that's probably just due to, like, who did the work on the PC version, because I know that was definitely a big focus for the international market to have. That's interesting that they would do that, but at the very least, it's just like one of those weird things of, like, cool, but like please Atlas. Everyone tweet at Atlas and just let them know you want this in there. Is it actually going to happen? God no, because, like, unless they have a typo that they apparently, like, feel very embarrassed by, they will just never ever patch their games. Zirin says, no, I think they give you an option to view the credits in the menu. Think you can take me. Don't forget, I can take you. Oh, I'm like, what are we talking about? I'm like, how are we quoting? I'm like, how are we quoting, like, Xenoblade? And I'm, like, not understanding this at all. I'm very, very sorry. And no one has said it's Rhine time. I'm very disappointed. It's Rhine time now. All right. God bless Xenoblade. All of them. They're all national treasures. Okay, so we've talked about reviews. I'm not that surprised about reviews. I'm pretty pleased about them. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I don't want the game to do poorly in the sense of I have it on my Fantasy Critic League. But I don't expect the reviews to continue to get higher. I don't think they're going to get lower. I think they're going to hang out around the 8s. But I'm very interested to see where we go now closer to release. I still think we're in a weird spot of, like, February is definitely quiet for games. There's not a lot of big games. The next biggest game coming out is Mario. But it's tough. For the channel, in case anyone is curious, let's see. So for the channel, me personally, next week's podcast hopefully should have a special guest. Probably won't be about Scramble, but who knows, because it will be kind of close up to there. At the release after that, it will probably be a Scramble and Impressions cast, so that'll be the week of, if not release day, of the regular version, actually. So release day, we might have like a little release party, but I'm super, super not... like, I'm going to be honest, I have not really planned anything that well. I've got a couple of feelers out there, but nothing that crazy planned for it. Spoiler cast. So, was talking about this in the Discord. If you are playing Bravely 2, that... sorry. Again, me just ignoring Bravely Default. I'm sorry, Bravely Default. You're not a real game in my brain. I'm sure you'll be good, but if you're bad, I get points, so it works out for me. So for the spoiler cast, I think I'm going to wait about a month. I don't know if I'm going to wait until the full month and like go end of March, but I might at least do like mid-March of just kind of giving that space. Let's actually check on my channel. When did I upload the Royal Spoiler Cast? / how many actual Persona 5 Royal Spoiler Casts are there on YouTube? Spoiler Cast, here we go. I uploaded that. Of course, God forbid I be one of the top results on YouTube. Reminder, I'm very unpopular. Alright, so I did that with Senor Jarly on May 5th. Wow. I feel like I waited a long time. Well, no, like the game came out the very end of March, so it was about a month. It was like a little over a month, so just May 5th feels like a lifetime ago now. Oh, man. P4, the abridged animation. Hello! Thank you so much for coming in here. This is how you know that the chat is just really losing it when we're just getting Faz flexing his PC specs. Oh my gosh. I won't submit. I'm not going to be reading Faz's PC specs for everybody. Jose Vasquez... Jose Vasquez, if you're the Jose Vasquez I think you are, like, if I know you in real life, please let me know, either, like, on phone or in chat, but that'd be very funny. I don't know if you're, like, just because I in my life, I'm not kidding here, I've had 3 different best friends in my life, all named Jose, and I think 2 of them were literally called Jose Vasquez, so that'd be very funny if you were that Jose. I don't think I can actually check on your name and find out. But, no, that's really, really funny. This is really, really distracted me. Jose, though, says, what do you think of Attack on Titan Season 4? I need to catch up on Attack on Titan, and I'm really dumb. I decided I'm not going to read the manga. I'm not going to catch up on the anime. The farthest I'm in the anime is very early Season 2. I'm like, oh, I'll play the video game. Okay. Sorry. Jose, that was a weird thing to ask. I apologize. I just had to ask because I know someone who lives very close to me named Jose, so that'd be very weird. So don't worry. No, nothing that weird is going on. So my plan is I want to, hopefully before the series ends, finish Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle, and also the original Attack on Titan video game. That way I can experience 1, 2, and 3, all 3 of those seasons in the game. And I'm hoping Koei Tecmo announces they're going to do the last season as a video game. If not, I'll definitely catch up. But I did that first couple hours long stream, and oh man, yeah. Just Killamo's telling me, yeah, the AOT manga is going to end very, very soon. But I'm hearing a lot of things from it. I'm thankfully spoiler free, but really, really, really excited to kind of get back into that just because it has been so long, and I was hunting down those games on PS4 for quite a while. I had the first one, but God, Attack on Titan 2 is so expensive to buy nowadays. At least if you want a physical copy. I think it actually might be fun. Like, I had an idea of doing a video discussing the Atlas published Attack on Titan game on 3DS, and do that, like, whether it be at the end of the anime or the end of the manga, just because, like, I review that game on this channel. It was a very, very bad review, but it's just so funny to me of like, man, that's like one of the worst games Atlas has ever published. Like, I can't put it into words. It was really, really bad. we're talking about Attack on Titan here, so safe to say we're pretty much done talking about Persona 5 Strikers reviews. If you all have any other last questions for me, please let me know. I gotta keep this a little bit of a shorter episode, just because I gotta upload this. I gotta make sure the wife is not dying. Peter Parker has only super chatted me once. I'm not saying I'll do this longer if I get another super chat. I'm not saying I won't, but I'm just gonna put that out there. Patreon.com/SMTN. I gotta stop eating ramen eventually. Joking aside, what did Faz say about this? I think this is Koei Tecmo's best port. Probably best last port. I don't think this will be their last port. Koei Tecmo definitely had a couple of areas of being pretty rough for ports, but looking at Neo 2 that just came to PC, that PC version looks great. I saw someone playing it 4K I was going to say 4K 120. It looked really, really, really nice. Also, shoutouts to Neo on PS5. That thing looks absolutely amazing. Yes, the Attack on Titan 3DS game is actual dog shit. I don't normally make such bold claims about that game. Spike Chunsoft made an Attack on Titan game on 3DS, and it is actually terrible. It looks bad. It plays bad. It sounds bad. Its ending is terrible. Its only a claim to fame is the fact that it has the music from the anime, but besides that, it's just it was so bad. And the fact that it, immediately after Koei Tecmo just whipped their dick out and was oh hey, here's everything this game tried to do but better, was just so funny to me. So, reminder: Spike Chunsoft either does great work or terrible work. For every Danganronpa, Spike Chunsoft has 3 Jump Force just waiting out there behind the corner. Cross Renred says, Spencer, do you know any way I can get my hands on a Steelbook vanilla version of Persona 5? Because I own the Steelbook of P5R and S and want to be a P5 sub. So assuming you are talking about the Western version, we are going to go to eBay. And I'm sure there are tons. I'm praying to God that this could not jump up in price. We're just going to go look at Persona 5 Steelbook. Type it into eBay. A lot of royals. Got a lot of royals. A custom Persona 5 Steelbook that has the art from the anime, which actually looks nice, but again, we don't pay for custom stuff here. I see someone selling, a lot of bid copies. You can get it for, I see one for $25. I see one for $30. A lot for $30. I see a lot of these for $30. So, assuming you don't care about the slipcover or assuming the condition's okay, I'd say, dude, just pay $30. You're pretty worth it out there. Don't buy the sealed versions for $80 or whatever. Man, that P5 Steelbook is very, very nice. Its insides are boring as hell. I like the JP version more, but I always appreciate what Atlas West did with the American Steelbooks. I like how they've kept them very very landscape friendly, which is kind of nice. They always do something interesting. Don't be this person and buy the $115 version. That's it's the definition of the word heinous. That sounds terrible. Also, for international people out there, please don't if you can help it, please don't buy the $60 Strikers Steelbook out there for what is it? I've seen some Strikers Steelbooks just the case alone going for $50 and $60. I don't think it's going to cost that much, but please don't do that if you can help it. I wish I had a way to help you all, but unfortunately international shipping from America is disgustingly bad, so shipping is always going to be a pain in the butt, but try not to pay anything more than $30 for the Striker Steelbook. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but right now we have nothing to assume that it's going to be rare. 9 out of 10 Best Buy Steelbooks are always very plentiful, so try to be safe. Also, if you have Steelbook questions or just collector's questions in general, feel free to ask me on Twitter or ask me on the Discord. The Discord's in the link below or the show notes for anyone out there listening. Or you can always tweet at me. That is at SMT Network or Torchwood4SP. I'm always happy to talk about whatever. It doesn't have to be SMT. It can be Steelbooks. It can be whatever. Talk about mozzarella sticks. It doesn't matter. Alright, so since we're kind of wrapping up, and I've already given out my Twitter, if you would also like to follow the show, you can join our Facebook group by going to facebook.com/groups/SMT Network. There's also a page there if you just want to like it and keep up to date. You can check out the Facebook. Nope, already said that. Again, it's been a long day. You can follow the YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/torchwood4sp maybe, or just search Shin Megami Tensei Network or Spencer Presley. That's the easiest way to find the channel. Not a lot of weekly podcasts talking about SMT and Persona, so we've cornered the market. We've scared all the other podcasts who do it on a regular-ish basis. So I guess we've got that going for us after 200 plus episodes. If you would like to support SMTN, you can go to patreon.com/SMTN. That's patreon.com/SMTN. And you can do all that fun stuff there and help support us at whatever level you feel comfortable. I always try and upload stuff early there to anyone who wants to support us. And at certain tiers, you can actually suggest and become an executive producer of the show. And yeah, so at a certain tier, you can like talk about, hey, I want to do this for the podcast, or you should do this for the video. I'm very, very open to that because, hey, I'm doing this show so much, and I'm doing it for all of you. So if you all are curious, I am here to help. So shout out to the 4 patrons we have that I am queuing up. I know all of their names, but at the same time, I also want to be fair and make sure I'm not missing anything. There we go. All right, so shout out to all 4 executive SMTN producers this week. Shout outs to Mirth, Steven, Patrick, and Robert. Thank you all so much for helping SMTN, even if it's just however you can. Everything is appreciated to any patron out there. And besides that, let's see. Did Twitter, did Facebook, did YouTube, Discord's in the chat. That's about it. So things to look forward to. I just posted a video about the Persona 5 Steelbook situation 2 weeks ago. Last weekend, I posted one talking about who the director and design team were. That was actually a really fun one to research. Definitely didn't get as much interest, but I mean, not as many people out there were like, "Oh my god, the guy from Toykiden 1 and 2, he's made Strikers." Like, I get it. It's an everyone kind of topic, but I have enjoyed seeing the Steelbook video blow up a lot more. Like, the Steelbook video went from 1K to 6K in 5 days. It was really weird. So I don't know what gave that an extra bump, but I appreciate anytime you guys can share the videos around. It really, really helps. Whether it be the podcast, whether it just be the channel, all that stuff has really, really, really helped it. Gilmore, you're right. That director does have a great name. And I will say, finding a photo/live stream of that man was impossibly hard to find. He is not a very well-known man in terms of online presence. But hey, that is just, I guess, how the Western internet works. YouTube algorithm is weird. You guys look at my subscriber count. As you can probably tell, I'm aggressively unpopular, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. I do not have a lot of subscribers. I personally feel like I get a lot of views. Not a lot of views, but I feel like compared to other people with similar subscriber counts, I'm always surprised how many views my stuff gets. So it's I don't get a lot of subscribers, but I actually get quite a good amount of views. I don't know why. I'm not complaining, but it is one of those funny little weird YouTube things of my videos are interesting enough to bring people in, not interesting enough to make everyone who watched them to subscribe. Whoa, this guy's got some cool stuff. I'm not gonna commit though. I get it, man. I get it. YouTube's a weird place. Well, that's enough talking about YouTube. That's enough talking about Persona 5 Strikers for one day. Thank you all so much for watching, whether it be live or listening to the audio version, recorded on YouTube or update. Oh, I know the other one I forgot. Thank you all for watching. If you are listening on the MP3 version, you can subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Spotify. If you can rate and review us there, that is always super duper duper helpful. So thank you all so much for that. That's how you can find the show and subscribe. More you subscribe and review helps more people find the show. More people, more fun, more stuff hypothetically happens. That's good for all of us. So there you go. Either way, thank you all so much once again for listening. Thank you everyone in chat. Thank you Faz for basically being my texting co-host. Thank you Reese. Thank you Killamo. Thank you P4 the Abridged series. Thank you Varnus. Thank you Cross Renren. Thank you Zeron, Gentle Curry, Jose Vasquez, but not the one that I knew. Thank you all so much for watching live and listening and chatting. I will see you all next week. Have a good rest of your night / week / whenever you're listening to this. And now for some live show exclusive news. My next video I'm doing next weekend should be my final Strikers video, at least editorial, for a while. So, does anyone want to guess what we will be talking about? I won't say it just because I like to weirdly keep it a secret, but I'll give you guys a hint about it. And if you guys can guess it, I'll be very, very impressed. I'll say this. It is something that not a lot of people have talked about, and it is something that is exclusive to the Western version of Strikers. And it is not a good thing. It is a negative thing. Woo! F word. Mary Nolan. I hope F word was not a bad thing. Or was not because I was drinking. So if it was, I apologize, Mary Nolan. Mary Nolan, that's a very interesting, username. Oh, the F word! Okay, I understood what you mean. I thought you were, saying fuck because, you came late or something. No, it's actually not about the contents of the game. It's actually something around the game, specifically digitally. But that's all I'll say. That's very funny. I was thinking, someone came into the stream late and went, F word! Dang it! Oh, my God. Oh, man, I need to talk about the whole Royal discussion. The whole Royal... I saw that brought up in so many reviews that made me just, shake my head. But that's its own much larger discussion that I want to get into after I beat all the versions of the game. So, either way, thank you all so much for watching. Have a good rest of your night, everybody watching live. I love you all. You're all so beautiful. Your little images, your text words, your live chats, your live... audience, I love y'all greatly. Shout out to Peter Parker, who I think literally just came in, dropped a super chat, and then left. I don't think he said anything else. Peter Parker, if you are listening, I just want you to know I love you with all of my heart, and thank you for your $2.99 once again. I'll be using that for one... No, I guess it'd be for 3% of my rent. So thank you, Peter Parker. Alrighty. Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you later.